Welcome to Martechify, a community of marketing professionals interested in digital marketing, Martech, and AI. I am your host today, Katrina Konovalova, and I am excited to welcome to our conversation Lokesh Alluri, who is a senior manager of digital and customer analytics at Lenovo. Lokesh, welcome!
Hi, Katerina. How are you? I'm excited to be here.
Me too. And I can't wait to hear more about your role at Lenovo, exciting projects that you and your team are working on. But first, as always, can you share a little bit more about your career journey? What inspired you to join Lenovo?
Yeah, sure. I moved here to the States after I grew up and did my bachelor's in India. I moved here in 2014. So I did my master's in Louisiana and then worked as a developer in Virginia for a year. And then I joined Lenovo as an analyst. Post that, after a couple of years, I had an opportunity to work in Europe to help our EMEA e-commerce group. I'm overall a part of Lenovo's e-commerce group. So I moved to Ireland for a couple of years to lead data and analytics to help with our EMEA e-commerce business. So I did that for a couple of years between 2019 and 2021. So I moved back in towards the end of 2021, and then my role expanded into various things. So my role currently sits in the intersection of Martech, analytics, and personalization to enable our business make smarter decisions. So my job is to make sure we're using data the right way to create that seamless and intuitive experiences for our customers. What excites me, or why did I join Lenovo? I think Lenovo is as a product, they're amazing, and I think the Lenovo's goal of changing the world or smarter enabling people and the world with smarter technology greatly resonates with me. I believe technology and education will be huge differentiators to move the world. So that greatly resonates with me, and that's what I love about Lenovo.
Yes, it's a great company, and I even used to have a laptop by Lenovo before. Let's talk about some of the products or services that Lenovo offers that most people may not be even aware of.
Yeah, so Lenovo offers wide variety of products. We pride ourselves in selling products from pocket to cloud. I'm sure a lot of people would know Lenovo for our ThinkPad, a solid commercial machine, or a lot of consumers, including me, use it for my own personal purposes. So ThinkPad is a huge part of our business. I'm not sure how many people know. Some of my friends get surprised when I say that Motorola is owned by Lenovo. We sell Motorola phones. We sell servers for various businesses. So we sell a lot of devices from pocket, starting from phone to laptop, and we have a huge variety of tablets all the way to servers for server setup. That is the variety of products that we sell.
Yes, yes, especially Motorola phone. I'm sure that will surprise some people. Let's talk about personalization. What does it mean to personalize at Lenovo's scale?
So we sell and we operate in about 180 markets, and we sell direct to consumers via our e-commerce group, or I'm a part of e-commerce group. So we sell direct to consumers in about 36 countries across the globe. We have millions of visitors coming to our site to either get educated or to buy products and so on. So at our scale, what personalization means is very simple. How do we enable, or how do we ensure customers are being helped through personalization, or how do we convert each click into an amazing experience for our customers? So that's what personalization means to us at our scale.
Yes, I'm sure it's such a big global company. Can you share a little bit more about your team? I believe you oversee several specialists in different countries. What does your team look like, as well as what are you guys doing on a daily basis?
My day to day is like a mix of strategy, people, and problem solving. So a big part of my role is to make sure we from the analytics team are enabling decisions to solve real business problems, not just producing reports or just sending dashboards and data. So I spend a lot of time working closely with my team to push myself and push the team in that direction to solve the business problems. So some days it's just sitting in business reviews and listening carefully to our business leads to understand what challenges they are facing and where my team can help with data or with personalization and with experimentation. On other days, it is just forward looking and thinking about what is coming next. So identifying opportunities around experimentation or how AI can help us move the needle faster. So one thing that greatly helps, and another thing that I should call out on your question on what do you love about Lenovo is Lenovo, particularly our team on the e-commerce group, has a strong test and learn culture. So it gives us a room to experiment and iterate fast. So that increases the pace of innovation in a very structured way. So that makes analytics much more impactful for the business.
And how do you see the role of analysts changing over time, especially with AI?
That question is very close to me because that is what I have been doing past 10 years, and I've been thinking of it. The role of an analyst did not really change in past 15, 20 years. It was more of connecting to a database and using one of the visualization tools and generating the dashboards. As an analyst, I should not be just crunching numbers and generating reports. I should always think about, will whatever I do in this report enable a particular decision? Will it move the needle in the right direction? So I'm quoting what Avinash said. So I think what analysts would do more and more going forward is to do spend more time thinking as opposed to doing, because I think the doing part can be handled by AI more and more efficiently as the time passes. So as an analyst, I think we all in the world of analysis, we should think about how a business process or how a business operates or how a head of a business would take decisions, and we should think about how, with the plethora of technology, plethora of people or process we have, how can we enable that decision to be better? So I think there will be a shift from being a reporting analyst to becoming a decision intelligence owner on and enabling that decision. So there will be a shift, I think, in next couple of years, if not sooner, towards that direction on that. And another thing, as an analyst now, if AI can crunch numbers and tell us what the numbers are giving, then as an analyst, what would be my relevancy? If I think about that, I think my relevancy would be the imagining art of possible, imagining what could be the output of that analysis and monitoring that and giving that business context to the machine on what to optimize for without hurting the brand reputation or without hurting certain metrics. So as an analyst, I think my value addition would be that to coming up with the a business context, as well as to imagine what is possible with my technical capability on what can be done with the advantage of AI or advantage of technologies. So that's where I see a role of an analyst being changed, or role of an analyst being evolving into a decision intelligence owner.
Yes, yes, for sure. And what do you do about some of the tools? Let's say we look at some AI tools that may hallucinate. Some of the guests from our previous conversations mentioned that they will try to analyze a big Excel file and then they find out that AI only analyzed half of it. And it's sometimes difficult to catch these mistakes. If you are very experienced and you know how to QC the data, of course you will. But especially junior analysts who are heavily relying on vibe coding, on AI support tools, they may not even know where to look for answers or hallucinations or something that is actually wrong, because AI may sound very smart. Do you notice this trend?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of what you're describing is trust in AI, or trust in AI models has been a huge part of discussions of late in the community. Would I trust what AI analyzed for me? How do I know what model did it use? So yeah, the trust component is huge, to recognize what models were used, to recognize what's happening, and to recognize the hallucination piece. As a good analyst that knows my stuff, that is what my differentiator is: the ability to recognize whether whatever produced is accurate, or ability to know that it's not hallucination or it's a half-baked job. Our ability to imagine that this is what it is possible. That is what would be my differentiator. One good thing is that, I mean, I think the hallucinations that AI had even 3 months ago are not happening now. So the technology is rapidly improving at a rapid pace. So there is that aspect. So as humans are different, we should think about, or whatever we do, whether I'm an analyst or whether I'm an operations manager or whatever, I should think about what my differentiator would be. If whatever I'm doing today is being done by AI, what is my differentiator? What is my value addition to that? Is it imagining the art of possible, or is it ensuring that it is not hallucinating? Another aspect that comes to mind is data quality. I think there is a huge emphasis now more than ever on building robust and scalable architectures, and also data quality and data governance has been a huge thing. All the AI systems or automation, whatever we put in, is only as good as the data and the architecture behind it. So while the hallucinations or while the half baking is happened, that could probably be a data quality problem as opposed to AI problem. So I think there is a lot of people are experimenting with AI for data analysis. Yes, the results are still mixed, but I think there will be rapid improvements, and in a couple of years I think there will be a lot more improvements, and these hallucinations and half baking will stop and we'll get quality output. But right now, yes, there is a lot of experimentation happening across the brands is what I see.
And when new people want to join your team, let's say recent graduates, how do you test their skills? Because some of them are already heavily using AI, and they may do a really quick assignment online if you are testing them virtually, and then they show up at work and then you realize that they may be lacking actual skills. With new recent graduates who are joining your team, how do you guide them and
Good.
test their skills so
That's
they'll do a
a
good job?
That's an amazing question, Ekaterina. I've been thinking of that as well. Recent graduates, I think everyone, whether I'm a recent graduate or a recent high school graduate, everyone now has an intern at their hands that is probably $20 per month in the form of AI, whatever AI we use, ChatGPT, or everyone has that intern that can crunch big numbers, come up with some sort of analysis, come up with some trendy terms or AI-ish terms. But I think what I look for is curiosity and critical thinking. While we are all equipped with the technology AI, I'm not an AI pessimist or AI skeptic. I'm a huge optimist on AI enabling us to be better. But what would be the differentiator that I look for is that curiosity and critical thinking. Am I asking the whys, or am I thinking of whether it's just like a regular trendy term, or whether it would be what is my take or what is my differentiator as a human? So if every college grad or every recent grad is equipped with AI, we cannot out AI each other. One of the leaders that I respect at Lenovo, Ajit Sivadasan, said this one, where I don't know if he came up with it or he came up with it from a book. It is, you cannot out AI, you can only out human AI. So as Lokesh, who I am is my differentiator. That is me out AIing AI. So as a recent graduate, what their differentiator or what I look for is, are they curious and are they able to think critically on various aspects, or are they just answering something in a generic way, what AI would do? Even in terms of if I give them an analysis assignment, is there a depth? Are they questioning what the output is coming from? There is no problem of them using Claude Code or ChatGPT or whatever, but is there a depth? Did they really understand the problem that I'm trying to solve for? And are they thinking curiously and critically to come towards the output? And are they giving me their individual authentic response on what they feel as an analyst or as a curator on that, as opposed to are they just dumping the response or puking the response, taking it from one place to other? So that's what I look for.
Yes, yeah. So from a conversation about new hires to going back to data governance and how quickly everything is changing. So let's talk about trends that we're seeing that are happening in the field of analytics and tech. So obviously data governance is a big one, and you touched on it a little bit. Is there anything else? Do you want to unpack this topic?
Yeah, so I think the huge trend, of course, has been AI in the world of marketing technology, or Martech, as this is Martechify podcast. I think CDP has been a big trend last couple of years on unifying the customer data, I think it will continue for a couple of more years. Obviously, AI, like I said, has been a big thing on how we can be more efficient with it. What I'm seeing now more than ever, like I shared in the previous question, is a lot of emphasis now more than ever on data quality, data governance to have a clean architecture. So whatever we automate and use AI for is only as good as the data and the architecture behind it. So there has been a huge focus on that. Another big trend that I've seen is interoperability and integrations between the systems and technologies. So companies or brands want all the technology to work and be integrated seamlessly to enable decisioning and personalization. I just came off an interesting data conference called Data Exchange. There has been a lot of discussion on the same topics on trust in AI. One of your question as well is, how do I trust the output? So there has been huge discussion, and I think there has been huge trend on how do we experiment to increase our confidence on the output, or how do we enable AI to not do a half-baked job. So there has been huge trend on experimentation around that topic that I've seen. I think at this point, personalization is more of an expectation from customers. Every customer is expecting the brand to personalize the experience for them. So now the real differentiator in that aspect is, as a brand, how do I deploy personalization in a way that is helpful and it is not intrusive? So so there is a huge emphasis now more than ever on privacy and compliance across the board, across the industries.
Do you want to share an example? When you and I chatted previously before we started the recording, you talked about an earring example, and I really liked it. So let's share it with our audience.
Yeah, so I probably overkilled it. I used it during my recent conference experience as well. But that made me think about it. So there has been a huge discussion on trends in evolving customer journeys and how customers are interacting with the digital side of the brands pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic. And then there comes LLMs. Now there has been another shift in the journeys of customers and how customers are interacting with brands. My personal example recently is last year I purchased a diamond ear stud, and I know nothing about diamonds. I did not know that there are various components to diamonds like clarity, shape, certification, so on and so forth. So I started my journey in general Googling diamonds and stumbled upon a retailer's site. And I tried to educate myself on that site, but I couldn't. It was too complicated. I mean, all due respect to the retailer site, it's not the retailer's complication, it's the product's complication of a diamond, because it's not straightforward where you go and say, I need so and so size of a diamond, and I get that. There is clarity and there is shape and so on and so forth. So I was confused and then left. If in a world without an LLM, I would have probably taken 4 or maybe 8 weeks to take a decision, because it's a $2,000 purchase. So I would have gone to a local diamond store and educated myself. Maybe I would not have. I would have slacked on it. As there is ChatGPT, I told ChatGPT or the AI engine, ALLM, on what I'm looking for, and asked it to give me a crash course on what is clarity, what is shape, what is certification. And I educated myself, and then I decided, okay, I think this is for my need, this is the specification I need. And by then, the retailer had my email. So he emailed saying, hey, are you looking for any help? And I gave them the specifications that from my education on LLM, saying, here are the specifications, here is the specific ear stud I need. And they said, okay, here is what we have, and here is the payment link. I paid and received my diamond in a week. So from an aspect where I go through the research for multiple weeks for making a big purchase that is over $2,000 for a product that has multiple component to it, now my journey shrunk, because I arrived on the retailer site more educated, or I responded to the email of the retailer in a more educated way, saying, here is the specific thing I need. You have it? Then, okay, let's make a deal and close it. So pre LLMs, I think that journey would have been much more longer. So the various buckets that we put customers in. So as brands, we should think about that evolution of customer journeys. On if that's a first hit of customer on the brand side, it need not be awareness. It might be mid funnel, as in the customer is more aware and educated about the product and is more clear on what they want than ever before. So that made me think about the shifting customer journeys from how they have been. They continuously shifted, like I said, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, so on and so forth. And with mobile, now with AI, I think they're shifting further and they're shrinking. So as brands, we should continuously think about how do we cater to the needs of customers with the current LLM. So that's what was interesting for me.
Yes, yes. And you, as a marketing and analytics pro, can probably figure out what is happening on the back end with this customer journey. So you experienced it as a consumer, but then if you were on the other end, if you were that brand, how does it work? So you mentioned that right now, CDPs, customer data platforms, even 2 years ago, it was a big buzzword. It's still very prevalent right now, but it sounds like there is an evolution even in CDP and how we approach customer journey. So do you anticipate LLMs and other new tech being a new part of our overall structure and strategy, and how it all interplays and evolves? So I would love to hear your take as an analytics pro on this specific example from a technical standpoint. What is happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. CDPs are still prevalent in terms of piecing together various aspects of customer data so that we at least know what is the unified view of customer or unified journey of customer across channels and devices is like. Now, when you have to plug in the interactions customers would have had with LLMs, that's the missing piece in the recent shift in journeys that I was sharing. So in terms of if it is SEM, SEO, we connect to Google AdWords to know what kind of keywords, etc., were inputted. I think in future we would be able to at least know from now. I think the AI LLM engines are shifting towards serving ads to customers. So I hope there would be a way where the AI engine will tell us, if not for the whole prompt, if not, at least will tell us what is the intent of the customer or what are the things that they were looking for, where the AI engine sent them to us, or some sort of a way for us to identify what's happening in the closed boxes of these LLMs, so that we can piece that into our ways of personalizing the experience, or our, like you said, our backend systems, so that it is more relevant to the experience that we're serving is more relevant. So I think there will be a way in future where we can at least plug the intent of customer or certain dimensions of what is happening inside the LLMs, as opposed to just saying, well, this is a hit from ChatGPT or Claude, let's just classify that as a generative engine hit. I think there should be a little more data aspect to it, little more dimensions that we from brand side should get on what was customer looking for, in what aspects we as a brand are showing up on LLMs. Of course, we can do it on ourselves, but in the real world, how are we showing up? So I think there would be a lot of interest and a lot of architectural shift to enable a space for that to be included in the system.
So when you talked about LLM traffic and potentially ads, it reminded me the ad. I think they were roasting ChatGPT actually about the shoes. The guy is typing something in ChatGPT and then he is being served really weird suggestions. So do you anticipate more advertising content, more skewed content based on whatever the companies may want to feed to LLMs shows up in recommendations on ChatGPT and other platforms like that? So basically, like Google AdWords, at first it was just Google search, and then miraculously there were a few top links with the preferred businesses to click on. Do you anticipate the same trend in LLMs?
Yeah, I think there will that's what they announced, that they'll serve our ads, but I think they will step on some toes in the beginning. I'm sure the generative engines will themselves will step on some toes, as in your example, serving wrong ads, so on and so forth. But I think they'll figure out very quickly on how to do it the right way. Of course, there would be one-off instances here and there, and that would go viral with all the social media, etc. But they'll figure it out, and I think they will do a very good job of this one. If I think that's what will be eventually, or at some point, they'll have to make money. That's all. A lot of crazy valuations based on the world's output for these AI LLMs. They'll have to make money somehow, and if you have to make money somehow, you'll have to do a good job of marketing brands on your system and serving the right ads as a technology or as an engine.
Yes, yeah. Lokesh, as we wrap up our conversation, let me ask you this. In the age of AI, what can brands do to differentiate themselves?
That's a very good question. I think as brands, everybody, as a particularly large global enterprise brands with a lot of money that they can invest in marketing, and we all have access to best in class technologies. So I think now more than ever, it is very important to have that story. As a brand, how can I connect with people or masses in an authentic human way? What is my story as a brand is very important. I think now more than ever, brands are enabled with best in class technology, best in class AI. Everybody will have access to that. But as a brand, what is the differentiator is who they are, what is their authentic story. So I think more and more brands will start to out-human each other by sharing their authentic core story of who they are. So as brands, I think that would be the differentiator going forward in the age of AI, on how we market and how we authentically connect to people on who we are.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I loved the discussion.